Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another special episode of The Ball is Round. Today, we are delighted to be joined by Roses FC president Annie Larouche. Coach Annie, I'm going to call you Coach Annie because that's your handle on Instagram, so I'm going to call you
I
Coach Annie.
know.
Thank you so much for being here. Why
Thank
Coach?
you for. Oh,
Why?
okay, that's a long story, but
No, I got to hear it.
actually,
I got to know.
so I was the coach of the cheer team for 25
Yes.
years. So that's it's one of the cheerleaders, Alexandra Roy. So hi, Alex, who started this. She was like Coach Larouche, Coach Larouche. So it stayed and it's been Coach Larouche forever.
Not that long of a story, but that's fantastic. So, how is I know it's the first hot day in Montreal. We're recording this on a Monday night. How do we find Annie today?
Oh, I think we all needed this so bad.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna concentrate on what happened today because apparently it's not gonna be
Yeah.
a nice and warm week. So I'm taking everything in, and I am so looking forward to those summer days with no boots and no coats, and yeah.
Hey, a week ago we had those insane. This is not a weather podcast, but I gotta say we had those insane winds that that rocked Montreal, but we're not there. All right, let's talk about you, Annie, because this we're here to interview you. So in 2023, you became president of the Montreal Alliance, the Montréal
Yep.
Alliance, les Alliances de Montréal, and
Yep.
making history as the first woman to lead a professional sports club in Montreal. Looking back, how did this journey
Mhm.
prepare you to take on the Northern Super League and Roses FC then?
Well, actually, it started even before that. So it started with the Alouettes, and you know what? Maybe even earlier, because when I was younger, I was a coach, a real coach, a gymnastics coach. So I think that my kind of leadership is like a coach. It's one day after the other. It's you take it one day at a
Mhm.
time and you focus on what you need to work on. um and then 25 years with the Alouettes. um and this is where I learned everything basically, because I started as the coordinator of the cheer team in 96. I was 24 back then. And then, when I finished 25 years later in 2021, I was the director of the cheer team, of the community relations, the foundation, and also the alumni association. So
Mhm.
I've been through everything: community marketing, communications. I know how the ticket office work, partnerships. So I basically
You've touched a
um,
little bit of everything everywhere.
touched a little bit of
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
So I had a toolbox full of tools to start this new jersey with the alliance. And then um, I started as the VP of the team, but there was no president at the time.
Hmm.
So we started this team during the pandemic. Who does that?
Yeah, yeah. Timing, perfect timing.
Timing, perfect timing. So
Yeah.
but the league was already in place, and when I started, if I'm not mistaken, it was their fourth or fifth season.
Hmm.
um and then I took everything and joined the Roses a year after, in 2024. I was actually a consultant for a couple of months with them,
With the
starting
project
in
stage.
2023.
Hmm.
Because at first they weren't sure if the season would start in 2025 or 2026. So
Hmm.
I was very happy to be a part of this. um, but the difference between the NSL and the CBL is that the NSL was brand new. So when you say that you're flying the plane, you're building the plane as you're flying it, that's exactly it. Everything started from scratch, not only the team but also the league. So that was a different challenge. But yeah, I guess all that experience with the Alouettes and with the Alliance prepared me for this journey.
I guess touching a little bit of everything kind of build up into something that you could, you know, eventually bring on to Rose FC because you had or Montreal Alliance, as you mentioned. But anyone who's listening, I know I kind of jumped into the questions, but as I told Annie before the show, I did my research. You got to look at everything she's done. She's incredible. But I am kind of jumping that part because you've spoken about it
Oh yeah.
in an extent. So, but she's done admirable work before the Rose FC. But we talk about soccer here. So, um, as you mentioned, you stepped away from the Montreal Lions in August 2024.
Yes.
Why was that the right moment for you to make that
Oh,
change? And why
yeah, that's
soccer?
yeah. Well, these are all good questions.
Yes.
um, because okay, so you have to know that I've never been driven by a title or a salary or it's I need a challenge. I love challenges. I love new projects. Um, but to be honest, so as I mentioned, when I started with the Roses, it was as a consultant. I was happy to contribute, but I had started the alliance 3 years, actually 2 years prior to this, if we're talking about 2023. So I was almost in my third year. I loved what I was doing. So absolutely loved the alliance. I was in a good position, good place, loved the team, really connected with the basketball culture and fans in Montreal and in Quebec. Um, but then as the Roses was getting, more and more serious, I had to make a decision. They offered me the job. And as I mentioned, at first I said, oh, I want to help, but I'm going to stay with the alliance. But they were pretty convincing. And I spoke to, I did a conseil de famille. So I sat down with the family because starting a team is a good 3 years, where basically everything you do is work day, night, weekends. I have kids; they're big kids now, but still, I wanted them to be part of the decision. It was, I was expecting another 3 years of hard work. Um, I guess that it's women's sports, and that's for me. It was the logical next step to what I was doing. And I felt like I would be missing something or um yeah, missing an opportunity to
Mhm.
be a part of this. And uh, again, it was an amazing challenge,
Yeah.
but it goes beyond what happens on the pitch or on the ice with La Victoire, or it's a movement, and everybody wants to be a part of this, and there's a momentum right now. So we need to do things right away, or we might not get that window of opportunity again. So I guess that this challenge, this movement, I really felt like it was an opportunity for me, and I couldn't let it go.
Yeah. Well, look, I want to take it deep, dive deep into what you just said. My God, why can't I find my words? Um, because you said that when you make a decision, an important one, you sit down. I almost imagine like the movies where you have the long table, everybody's sitting around. We're about to make a decision. Take us a little bit through that, Annie, and not just
Yeah.
because of the Rose FC. I'm sure it's happened a bunch of times. You said you have kids, a family that their opinion is very important. Take us a little bit through what Annie's decision making is when it comes to these important things in her life.
Hmm.
Again, not just Montreal Roses. I'm sure there's been moments where maybe your family told you no, mom or wife, whatever. It's not the right thing to do now. How
Yeah.
does that work? Take us a little bit into that.
Okay, so if we go back to the Alouettes, I started in 24, not married, no kids, no nothing. So I was
What a life.
always yeah, I was always in a position to well, at the beginning, do whatever I wanted to do. So I worked, and then got married, had kids. So
Mhm.
I had the privilege to work my schedule around this. But so let's go back before the pandemic, when there was no real teletravail.
Mhm.
We were
Work from home.
working nine.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were, you know, working 9 to 5, at least 9 to 5 in the office, and you would pick up the kids, kindergarten and school, and then 5 days a week. And I don't know how we did that. Honestly, when I think about it, I don't know.
We're back.
Um,
We're back to
yeah,
that.
we're back to that. Exactly. But I would come from work, pick up the
Mhm.
kids, homework and dinner, and then put them to bed, and then go to the cheer practices, rehearsals. Every Mondays and Wednesdays for 25 years, Mondays and Wednesdays, I had practices, rehearsals. So um, that was my life. And then the kids got bigger, and I joined the alliance. And then again, it was like, okay, I got this opportunity. What do you guys think? They thought that was amazing. They were excited. And we're at a table. What do you think what the name should be and the color? So it's exciting for them.
Mhm.
But those are like 12, 15, 18 hours a day, including weekends. And they were part of it. They started working for the team, and so it was fun.
Uh,
um, but I knew that my kids are big now, so they're almost 21 and 19. But I want to make sure that I am still available when they need me. So you know how it is.
yeah.
They don't need me all the time, but when they do, I want to be available, and I want them to they knew what I was getting into, and I wanted their approval. It's a family thing. So we weren't at this big dinner table. We were in the kitchen, and I said,
Yeah.
okay guys, so this is the story, what do you think? And my boyfriend is French, so my boyfriend said, so excuse my French, but he
Yeah.
goes, oh putain,
Oh,
this is amazing.
yeah. Annie, we're gonna have to bleep that out. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But no, it does give us an idea of how how these decisions are made. They're not easy, right? I'm sure you're summarizing it to us in a 20
Oh
second
yeah.
thing, but they take
Yes, yes,
hours
yes.
and weeks and more for you. I can imagine that these, but I'm
Hmm.
sure, and we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah, yeah,
When
yeah.
when you
But
when you look at it back at it today, your best things, some of the good
oh,
things.
of course. Yeah, so the whole family, my boyfriend said, it's so popular in
Hmm.
Europe, and it's about time it comes to Canada. And my son, back then, he was at CJEP, and he said, all the girls are playing soccer, mom. And
Hmm.
my daughter said, mom, you do you, but I think that's, it's the next logical step. So I said, if it's a go for everyone, then I'll say yes. And it was a go, unanimous. So
Wow,
yeah.
wow, that's incredible. So before becoming the president of the Montreal Roses, you were first introduced to the project when it was still known, as you mentioned, Project 8. You were kind of a consultant, right, to the whole
Yep.
thing.
Hmm.
How was it presented to you? If you can, how was it
Yes.
brought to you, and how natural was that decision for you to step into the role as the club's first president?
Hmm. Okay, so Patrick Boivin, who was my former boss with the Alouettes, and who became a friend, called me one day, and he said, "Isa and GF want to meet you. They would like to meet you. They're starting a project. Professional. I can't even remember if he said soccer at that time, but he said, they're
Something.
starting something, and they would like to meet with you." So I met with them, and they told me about the project. So how it started is Jean-François, so Jean-François Crevier and Isabelle Chevalier. Jean-François saw this article in La Presse where Diana Matheson wanted to start a league in Canada, a women's professional soccer league. And so Jean-François reached out and said, "I'm interested. I would be interested in starting buying a franchise in Montreal." Then he called Isabelle. Are you want to? And they would put it in better words,
Yeah.
and you could feel it. So it really meant something for them. They're doing it for the right reasons. So again, the project was, and at first it was called Project 8.
Hmm.
So they wanted 8 teams to start
The
the
league.
inaugural season. But at one point they said, you know what, there is a momentum right now, so we let's start in 2025 with 6 teams, and we'll do expansions later on. But there's a window of opportunity again, and it's all about opportunities. So there's a window right there and we can't miss it. Um so I was really it was an honor for me to be able to provide, um I would say, incentives, and just to be a part of the discussion, and what works in your city, and what's the sports culture in Montreal, and you know you have the bigger teams and you have the newest ones. So
Mhm.
how do we navigate through this? And so it was um great discussions, and I was really proud to be part of that. Yeah.
Ah, nice, nice, nice. And I know you kind of talked about it, but how natural was it for you to just kind of accept that president position for Rose FC? Was it an instant yes? Did you have maybe to think about it and say, hey, I'm not too sure, or did were you fully aware of what was happening? What was happening at that moment, and that could mean what you were
Yes.
doing?
Yes, and that's why I hesitated at first, because I was almost at 4 years with the alliance, and I was, honestly, a couple of months before that, I was like, oh, finally, I'm gonna get a vacation. I can take 2 weeks back to back.
Yeah,
I can't even remember, honestly, when I did that in my life. And
yeah,
so when this came, I was like, ah, so we forget about the vacation.
yeah.
I know what I'm getting into. And I remember saying this to Isa and GF, I know what I'm getting into.
Mm,
Um, and let me tell you what's coming.
yeah.
But the fact that, again, I go back to the toolbox. I knew that I had the tools to start this team, and knowing enough in each department to build this department with the right people in the right places. So, um, yeah, I just felt like I know I can do this. It's another huge challenge, but I know I can do it. The family's in, so let's go.
Yeah.
Let's jump
I
into
I
it.
have a question about that because is there a highlight in particular, maybe when you were a cheerleader or a cheerleader coach, or maybe in the Montreal line, a moment in particular that you overcame and you said, you know what, world, bring it, because I can. You got to know yourself. I know I've had moments where I
Yeah.
was down low and I came back up and I said, hey, you know what? If I can overcome this crap that I just overcame, then the world's got nothing on me, right? So have you ever had those moments? Obviously, you in a much better, a bigger scope than me, but have you ever had in the past a moment that
Yes.
sticks in your mind where you overcame that?
Yeah, but you know what? I think that it all, how can I explain that? So it might be on a smaller scale, but it happened like
Yeah,
many
right.
times. So I was a coordinator, I did something right, and I'm like, bring it on, I can do it. And then you climb the ladder, and then something else happens, and you're
Yeah.
like, I can do this. And bam, let's bring it.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I
yeah.
think you're moving up the ladder, and so there's no like big moments, but
Yeah.
it was always big for me. But I was, and I gotta be honest, this is everything. I was always in um good positions, with the Alouettes, and then with the Alliance. I had people trusting me. They trusted me.
Hmm.
Let's go back to the Alouettes with Larry Smith. He trusted me. He and Claude Rochon. They gave me the. I could spread my wings,
Yeah.
and they would be like, "You can do this. Go
Yeah.
ahead." So I'm pretty lucky that I was professionally brought up in this environment.
Yeah. That's
Hmm.
awesome. That's really cool to hear. You guys hear names, you hear that, and you're like, whoa, all these people that influence Annie Larouche must have been, like you said, trust, right? It's something that you can't measure, you can't put it on paper. When somebody looks at you or doesn't even tell you directly, just looks at you and says, "Go for it. I know you can do it."
Exactly,
So,
exactly. And I remember, just for the little story, because
yeah,
because
yeah, go ahead.
this one was meaningful. So one day, went up to see Larry, and I said, we have a problem, and here's the situation. And he goes, okay, what's the situation? I explain it to him, and he goes, So what should we do? And I said, I think we should do this. And he goes, well, why are you asking me? You know what to do. You can go ahead and do it. So
That's awesome.
I
No,
was
that's
like,
awesome.
if,
Yeah.
yeah. And I was like, if Larry Smith trusts me, uh, you know,
Then I
let's
need to
do it.
trust myself. Yeah.
And let's not
Yeah.
disappoint him.
Yeah.
So,
That's
yeah.
awesome. That's awesome. Now we're gonna move on to our little baby, Roses FC, right?
Yes.
So when you were planning the league and Rose FC in general, um, was there maybe a league or a club in particular that you were maybe modeling your project to? Was there something, maybe another committee that you were consulting with to kind of get tips and tricks as to how to make it right? And I'll tell
Hmm.
you why I say this, because I've listened to podcasts from Chloe Minas, Tanya Boychuk, players that are Rose FC players, where they say we were really impressed when we came to Rose FC and saw how well like structured it was as a job to be a soccer player. But I'm asking Annie Larouche because she was there when there was dirt on the ground, right? So how did you who
Hmm.
did you model after anybody? Did you particularly set? How did you start the standard?
So I, from even before I got there, there's an amazing team,
Mhm.
amazing people involved in this project from day one. So it's not all about me.
Right,
I'm
right, right.
just the maestro there, and people are doing amazing things. But um, so at the beginning, there was a consulting group, and we would ask, you know, men, women, all genders, all ages, and we would ask them questions like, how do you see it? What would make you come to a game, or would you come to a game? And some people would say no, but I would buy merch if your merch is good. So we're like, okay, this is
Oh,
important. So no, but I would support the movement. However, whatever you would put together, I would support the movement, but I wouldn't come to a game. Or yes, definitely, I want to come to a game. So if you come to a game, what would you like to see? And so the owners really took the time to really work on a solid base, solid ground, just to make sure that we could build something on it,
mhm,
something strong, a good structure, something meaningful, with mission, vision, values, but sincere. Like every decision that we make, we go back to that mission and that vision and those values, and are we aligned? And it takes more time, but we're all going in the same direction, and we know that we're doing things right at that time. But so there's a lot of people that were involved, and we listened to everyone. So of course we checked with what the NWSL was doing,
mhm.
um, but you have to adapt it to your market. So, LA might be doing something incredible, but it wouldn't work in our market. So, you watch everything, you listen to everyone, and then you take bits and pieces here and there, and you put it together to have your own identity.
Right. So, first day at the office, you step in, you put your little toque of Roses FC. You're the first, first year as president of Roses FC. What was your vision for the club on and off the field? Obviously, you're not playing. You're not. You're not coach. You're not sporting director, but you're the president nonetheless. You're big. You're a big part of this project. So, what was your vision for the club at that point in the first year?
So, my vision was to build something strong, to make sure that in 10 years from now, um, the team is still alive and kicking. So that was important. So build a strong structure, starting with the staff, technical staff or admin staff, but have the right people in the right chairs, be connected to the community. That's important. So you need to be connected. It has to be, once again, you have to be. And I said that with the alliance as well. So you can't just come and say, "Hey, we're good, we're the best. Come and see us." You need to be humble. and say, this is what we're doing, let's all do it together, you want to be a part of this. And then that's the way I see it. And the sponsors wanted to be a part of this. Like it was the first time for me that sponsors would call and say, I want to make history, I want to be part of this. So um, just from the ground up, starting with the grassroots, that's how we're building this team.
Right. And now I want to know in the first year. This is a kind of a maybe a touchy subject. So because I know that the other soccer team, CF Montreal, the one before Rose FC, they've had issues in the past with dealing when it comes to dealing with the city of Montreal. What was it like in the first year? What was it like working with the city of Montreal to bring your vision to life while ensuring players and staff had the top notch facilities to both for both the training and the game? How did that collaboration go?
Exactly. So that's a good point, because we wanted to have first class installations. So you want to have great players. You want those players. We're building something so finally women can be professional athletes, and they don't have to choose between having another job or having a family. They can be athletes, they can be mothers, they can,
Hmm.
they can concentrate on their sport. So we're building all of these benefits and conditions. We want to put them in the best conditions possible. So training facility and stadium are two important ones, of course. So it was already decided that the training facility would be in Laval,
Hmm.
au Centre Sportif Bois de Boulogne. But finding a stadium was tough. So you need to, uh, you need to find a place where there's a FIFA certified turf or field, um, enough capacity with the stand, so at least 5,000. It has to be available. Can we play 12, 13 games in your stadium? And there was nowhere in Montreal that would meet all the requirements. So
That's crazy. That's crazy. Sorry to
yeah,
interrupt you there, but it's like you would think it would be a lot more. But anyway, sorry to cut you off there. But so
yeah.
there was limit of options. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And people were trying to help, but
Hmm.
are there football lines that we need to take off, or whatever? And how can we do it? And is it possible with their own schedule? And then,
Mm.
um, you know, Centre Claude Robillard was under renovations. It still is. There was McGill, Saputo, San Claude Rabillard, and Sepsum that could have been possibilities,
Right.
but it wasn't working for different reasons. But everyone was, absolutely amazing. But still, we didn't have any stadium. Um, so we looked at our options, and Le Centre Bois de Boulogne, they already have, a pitch. It was certified. We were missing stands, so we talked, and at first he said, "I you can play here for a year. That would be fine with me." And
Hmm.
this is Philip. So hi, Philip. Thank you for this. So
There
we
you go.
said, well, why not build a stadium? Might as well build a stadium. So
Hmm.
first year, you build a team, training facility, and a stadium, and the league at the same time. Huge challenge.
That's maybe a little bit hard, I guess. No, it's a monster that you guys did, and you guys did a fantastic job at it. I just want to know from your perspective. Um, First season at Stade Boreal saw like I was at all the home games, and there was strong entertainment. People showed up to the game, whether it was hot, it was cold. People showed up to the game. But I want to know fan turn when it comes to entertainment, fan turnout, and engagement across the board. How would you evaluate Roses FC first year in terms of crowd, sponsors, maybe ticket sales, and how do you keep that momentum going for 2026?
Exactly. Well, that's the challenge. First year is, I'll say, easy.
Yeah,
Um,
because there's the other team also, right? Like there's a new team now,
yes.
in
Yeah.
and we'll talk about it. But go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So what we did is, we decided that we would play in Laval in January 2025, finalized everything in February, and we were starting in April. So then, you do your best, you do what you have to do to make it happen.
Yeah.
But, as this season went on, you said, yeah, yeah, we said we need to fix this, and this is, we need to do this better, and so knowing that we would be there, for the second season, we did a lot of changes. So we now have, premium seatings. We did have premium seatings, but we're adding loges. We're changing the new camera platforms, so the angles for the broadcast are different. It gives another perspective. The giant screen, we're changing new giant screen, and it's going to be on the other side, so everyone in the stadium will see it.
Mhm.
um there's a lot of things that we're adjusting. um 30 more than 30% of the stadium is more affordable season 2. So we really adapted and adjusted to make sure that, again, everyone would have an amazing experience from the time they buy their tickets to the time they come back home after the game. So of course we'll continue with the fan experience, entertainment, F&B, the concessions. We're having this little, I don't want to say too much because, we'll make
Scoop.
official announcement.
Scoop,
Yeah.
Annie.
Please. Go
There's a
ahead.
little terrace boreal
Oh
now, so
yes,
where
you
you
got
can
it.
um so we're listening to our fans. We do a lot of surveys, and it's important for us because we need to adjust, and that's what we've been doing off season. So everyone will be amazed by what we're putting together.
Yeah, I mean, look, last year it was also like I mentioned, I was at all the games in the media section, and it was like I said, the fan presence was there, the entertainment was there. I mean, as you mentioned, we don't see the behind the scenes. I'm sure there were a lot of things that were done last minute and all that, but I'm sure second year is going to be a fantastic experience. But there is another
Mm.
challenge, as mentioned a little bit earlier, because Montreal just added a third professional soccer club with
Yep.
FC Super de Quebec joining the CPL and sharing facilities with Roses FC. I want to be very specific about that because there are specificities to what they're sharing with the FC Super de Quebec. Um, how do you see the two clubs collaborating to make each other improve each other? I almost want to call it like your big brother now because you have that 1 year step ahead of them, right? We had Rocco Placentino on this show a few months back as well, where he talked about some of the maybe things that they're planning out as well. But go ahead.
Yes.
Yes. How's
Well,
that gonna work?
yeah, so we're the big sister now.
Sorry. Oh man.
But no, you're absolutely right. So it's two different identities, but we are collaborating. So they're in the same situation as us, trying to find a stadium.
Mhm.
So we're very happy to know that what we built is good enough for another team. So people want to be in the Boreal Stadium, the Roses Stadium, and we're very happy to welcome them. So I think that uh, we need to create an habit of going to see a soccer game in Laval. Before, it was in at Saputo or San Claude Robillard. This is a new thing, and the fact that we're working together, it'll make it even better. So we're doing this for the community, for the soccer culture. So everyone has its um, place, I guess.
Mhm, mhm.
We're not competing against each other. I don't think we are. It's different crowd, and when we're happy to have the Supra playing in our stadium.
That's awesome. And now I want to know because I think it's everybody's question. Hockey, this hockey dominates Montreal sports scene. You've seen it, you've been part of it because of its history and connection to the local community, right? How do you
Mhm.
get parents? I know you said that investors call you, but I think at some point, Annie, that stops and you have to start calling the investors, right? How do you get parents, investors, and fans excited about a professional women's soccer team in the city with these I want to call it a challenge. The fact that hockey is such a predominant sports in Canada and Quebec.
Yeah. Well, the Quebec Federation has the most members, the Soccer Quebec. So there is it, there is a huge membership in soccer. Boys and girls are playing soccer, and it's increasing for many different reasons. So people are interested. It's fun to watch. It's 2 hours, you come in, you leave, there's parking, it's a beautiful day outdoors. So what we needed to adjust is making sure that we don't have games during those kids practices. They
Hmm.
play Saturday afternoon, and they practice with their teams on Saturdays and Sundays. So what we made sure is worked on the schedule to have more Thursdays and Fridays and even Saturday nights, for two reasons. So for the families, so they can come after a day of sports, but also for the corporate fans that we have. Corporate companies don't come on Saturday afternoons. So we just needed to work with the league and our broadcaster to make sure that we had the right schedule. It's all about timing, and there's a lot of options in Montreal. You have five other teams, and you have Oshiaga, and F1, and there's a lot of entertainment. So we need to make sure that we're talking to our fans, grassroots, building those fans, and making sure that they follow us along the way. And then one day they'll say, just like we would say with the Expos, oh, I remember at the beginning I was going to the games with my father. And so
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
what we want to create.
Of course, of course. And what's next for Roses FC? Any exciting projects or surprises in the work that fans should know about? Yes, Annie,
Yes.
I am asking for a scoop.
Yes, and I will not give it to you.
Damn
You
it!
have to be patient.
Damn it! Try it. Okay, next
Oh,
question.
oh yeah. So we built the team.
Yes,
It's a strong foundation,
yes.
and now we're bringing it to another level. So more to come.
That's all you need to know. It's gonna go to another level. Now, again, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, it's a little bit of a touchy subject, but I did ask Rocco the same thing, Rocco Placentino, who is the FC Super's president. And
Okay.
you guys can watch his interview because it was also very informing. But given CF Montreal's past challenges with the city around soccer infrastructure, has Roses FC faced similar hurdles? Or do you feel that the situation has shifted because of the momentum of the World Cup, or just because maybe it's changing. The times are changing in Montreal.
Times are changing. It'll Okay. So I always say that I might be cursed because I'm always camping with my teams. So it was camping at McGill, 98, the first years. I was camping with the Alliance, needing to adjust everything at the Verdun Auditorium, and now I'm still camping with. But this is the beauty of it. So one day maybe we'll have a you know huge stadium, and but we'll remember those days where we started from scratch,
Mhm.
bringing more electricity and generators to make sure that we could have a game. So are there challenges? Yes, definitely. But hey, we're starting, so one step at a time.
Nobody's gonna stop Annie Larouche. She's done it before. So now I think we're done talking about Rose FC. I just wanted to have some last two questions that is just in general about Annie Larouche because Annie Larouche is a trailblazer. I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna call it. She's a trailblazer. If you've heard her
Thank you.
interviews, which I have, read on her, she's brave and always ready to take on new challenges. What's next for Coach Larouche in the short and long term?
That's a good question. To be honest, I've said it many times. I'm I need a challenge. I always say I'm on my X spot, and if this X spot moves, I'll follow it. I just want to be, and I think that it's a smart decision because you always want to be sharp, you always want to be challenged, you want to be on the edge. That's how I like it. So lots of good things. I was saying not so long ago, my dad stopped working 1 week before his 80
Hmm.
years old. So
That's the
I'm
standard.
no yeah, I'm nowhere close to retirement.
Yeah.
Still lots of energies and things to accomplish. And I'm so happy with the Roses, with what we're building, the community, the investors, the partners, and again um, the amazing people on this team. Of course the players, but the staff, they're absolutely incredible. So we're allowed to dream and to dream big.
Yeah, I like that. Now I ask this to all the people that I interview. Is there anything that could surprise people about Annie Larouche that nobody knows? Maybe a hobby she has, maybe a tick that she has that nobody would expect of the president of Roses FC.
Mm,
Nobody
that's
likes
a
to reveal.
I'm
I
a
bite my
very
nails.
handy girl.
Oh,
So
got
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. I can, whatever work needs to be done here, I'll get my hammer.
All right, I got one last question before I let you go. So, any little girl or boy that's watching this interview and hearing about you for the first time, like my nieces, Luana, Olivia, and Raul, what's the best advice Annie Larouche could give to them?
Okay, Luana, talking to you. um, I know we always say dream big, and you can do whatever you want to do in life, and that's true. But I would say don't let anyone um make decisions for you. You make your own decisions. You believe in yourself. And if one door closes, just knock on the other one. There's a door for you, and one door will open. um and keep going.
You hear that, Luana? And thank you, Annie. Thank you, Annie, so much for joining the Ball is Round tonight.
Thank
We
you.
kept you up. And thank you for enlightening us with your journey. Any last words for Roses FC fans?
Oh, you have to come to a game this summer. Don't You can't miss it. You can't miss it. And the tickets are on sale, rosesmtl.ca.
Go.
Buy your tickets, come to a game, and be proud to support the Roses.
Let's go, baby. So thank you again. And we wish you nothing but the best for the upcoming season.
Thank you so much.